Hey, what's up? It's Glenn, and this is the first vlog I've filmed in a while. I took a little bit of time off. I'll get to that at the end of the video. I just wanted to do a quick kind of a mid-year update kind of thing, like mostly about writing stuff. I feel like I tried to get to that in an earlier vlog this year, but like my camera was running out of space or something like that, and I didn't get to it. Just so that y'all have some idea what I've got in the works. Those of you who follow this for my writing. First of all, if I look a little bit fluffier than I did in the last video I put up, these are the culprits right here. I get into these weird phases where I just, without intention, just slowly slip into I'm eating nothing but bananas and peanut butter. I don't know why. I mean, I want to go vegan. I've tried a couple of times with terrible results and I've had doctors tell me that I cannot be a vegan, that my body type is the rare type that must have animal protein. And that bothers me because, you know, I want to go vegan. It's not that I think it's immoral to eat meat. I don't. I think, you know, that the world works on the principle of predators and prey. It's the industry. It's the ethics of the meat industry in general, the factory farming problem, you know, the way animals are treated. If I could go vegan, I'm not supporting that in any way with my money. But yeah, like for me, when I have tried in the past to go vegan, I gain a ton of weight, and it's not just like bananas and peanut butter. Yeah, that's probably not the way to go, but that when I do it intentionally, it's not just bananas and peanut butter. Like bananas and peanut butter, that proves that I don't think I need meat in my life. Like when I don't eat meat, I don't miss it, you know? But yeah, I gain weight, and then it gets to the point where I start having gallbladder pain. Like this is, it sounds like old people talking at a family reunion, but like, no. So like, then when I start eating meat again, the weight just falls off of me. So I've been researching, you know, what makes plant-based protein different from animal protein. And I'm thinking that I can, you know, my next actual serious attempt, I think I can supplement with vitamins. It's just a lot of vitamins, and it's going to be pricey. That's the other thing. You know, it's healthier to eat less meat. But generally speaking, vegans are healthier. There are some issues that come along with it, like sometimes anemia, but you have to take vitamin supplements. But just from my meager understanding of these things, it looks like I would have to take more vitamin supplements than most in order to not have my body rebel. It's my thyroid in particular. Alright, enough old people at a family reunion talk. Yeah, so it's something I'm working on. I've been actually cooking for my people a lot. And it's all been vegan. I made vegan chili, I made vegan cornbread, vegan tacos, vegan. What did I do last time? Oh, spaghetti and meatballs. Oh, and I made like Cajun chicken pasta, a Cajun chicken pasta thing with not real chicken. It was plant-based. You couldn't tell the difference. It was good. So I'm on a kick about it. I can at least do vegan like some of the time. Like when I'm cooking for a lot of people. I have to monitor myself. My body's response, like if I'm not getting meat or supplementing with vitamins. Right. Family reunion over, old person going home. The writing update is what I really want to get into in this video because, I mean, I've got a lot of things that I'm really excited about going on right now. First of all, this video is brought to you by my latest novel, The Legends of Nod, Book 5, A Hero Before His Time, which, that's the first real thing I want to talk about. It came out in April, this book, and it's the first book that I've put out in a long time of new material. So there's this decision I made, and I think I've talked about this before, where I made a conscious decision to put my writing career on the back burner, and I built up a following at this point. Like 2000, the first decade of this century is when at some point in there is when I was like, I'm putting my writing on the back burner. I'm still going to do it in my spare time, kind of like a hobby, but I'm going to focus on running this youth program that I was running. And I by no means regret that decision. I would do it again in a heartbeat. But right now, at this point in my life, I'm trying to get my writing career back on track. And most of the readers I'd picked up over the years had moved on. You know, I was always an indie guy. Like, I had a couple things with bigger publishers, but for the most part, like like it's I could do a whole video about the things. And I should, but not this video. So, indie guy. That's where I thrive. I love being an indie writer. I've talked about that before. Indie publishing is fun, and nothing's holding me back. I don't have to argue with people about things. But yeah, so I was excited about this book and really trying to push it, but my readers largely had stopped paying attention to me. When I finally looked at the numbers, it was depressing. Like, this novel was not selling, and I expected it to sell at least better than it was, because it's part of a series that had done well in the past. So I thought, book 5, okay, this is gonna get my readers to remember that I'm here, and it didn't. At least not at first. But I had a really good July. So in July, because the book wasn't selling, we did a quiet little promotion on Amazon, and The Legends of Nod was topping charts over the 4th of July weekend, especially on Amazon. Not like the overall bestseller charts, but in categories you wouldn't, I wouldn't even consider to have been there. Like, I didn't even know some of these categories existed. But like, LGBTQ fantasy, LGBTQ action adventure, also just in general fantasy. It was way up high in the charts, and I was so happy. Just because of this little promotion that we did, and you know, I picked up a lot of new readers. I picked up, you could tell from like the way the numbers lined up on all the books that some of these people, they were getting book 1 and up, and then others were getting book 4 and up, you know, and book 4 hadn't done quite as well as books 1 through 3, just because, again, long pauses between putting these things out. And me being an indie guy, not a household name by any means. So yeah, like, it was a really good July. So now I'm happy with how this book is doing. And thank all of you who have read this book, bought this book. It means the world to me. So that's sales. I mean, it's an uphill battle when you're in indie publishing. And yeah, like, the LGBTQ categories were where it was mostly doing well, and that's, you know, just so you know what kind of series this is if you haven't checked it out, it's not like, you're not going to have sex scenes in the Legends of Nod. I consider it to be family friendly, you know, but that's not something with an objective definition. But to me, I would be comfortable with kids reading this. It's LGBTQ because the protagonist, Prince Joran, is gay, which is something I really love about this series. It's like not all about gay issues, you know. It's set in a fantasy realm, but it's the sort of world where a gay character doesn't have to be the sidekick, you know. He doesn't have to be the punchline or anything like that. He can be like the hero of the story. Starts his journey in book 1 by going to save his boyfriend from dragons. And you don't really have words like, they don't have labels in Nod, you know. Love is love. It's not here. So that's why it's in those categories. Just so you know, just so that if you think, oh, it's gay sex scenes from cover to cover. No, definitely not. No gay sex scenes. Which is not to say that the series shies away from the romance, you know, like any movie with heterosexual couples in it that you would let your whole family watch. These are not unique gay people in the Legends of Nod, or bisexual people. There are all kinds of, you know, I love diversity, so there are all kinds of diverse people in the Legends of Nod who are just as fully expressed as the heterosexual and cisgender characters. Like, everyone is fully expressed equally. Nobody gets sex scenes. At least not overt. Not overt sex scenes. It's kind of like if someone has just had sex and you know what sex is, you'll know what just happened. Or if they're about to, you'll know, but there aren't gonna be any down and dirty Legends of Nod, full-on romance novel, good parts scenes. But yeah, so that's all I have to say about that. I want to keep this update quick, but I'm terrible at that because I am a loquacious individual. So what I really want to talk about is all the other stuff I have in the pipelines. I have 8 finished manuscripts sitting here of various shapes and sizes. So this first one is The Composer. See how I do my manuscripts. This is a full-length novel. It's a standalone novel. It's really weird, and it is the most personal thing I have ever written in my entire life. It's scary for me to put this out into the world, and I've been deliberating for a couple of years just exactly what I want to do with this book. Because I'm wanting to go kind of hybrid with like some stuff with traditional publishers and some stuff indie, and I'm trying to find the line, like the dividing line. Like, what stuff do I want to submit around and what stuff do I want to maintain full, unconditional, unequivocal control over. And this one, because it's not part of one of my interconnected universes of stories, I really haven't known what to do, but I think what I'm going to do with it is publish it next year indie, because just with the formatting there's so much creative stuff, and I don't want to talk about the concept of this book, but it's so crazy that's why I want control over the way the page numbers work. Like, you'll see when you've got it in your hand why I'm doing this. But at the same time, I think I'm going to then find contests that I can enter it in. And I would be willing to go with a traditional publisher after I've published it indie. Once someone can see exactly what my vision is, I'd be comfortable with someone else publishing that and giving me thousands of dollars in an advance. Because that's one thing you do not get in indie publishing, is an advance on future royalties. So that's why when you check the numbers on your latest novel and no one is buying it, it's kind of like, well, crap, no money for me. Because, yeah, I don't get paid up front. I am the publisher, and I'm fine with that. It's just that's why I kind of am thinking of writing some standalone novels in the future. I've got tons of ideas for them. It wouldn't be a forced thing. And if they're not tied into one of my already in motion, interconnected worlds, then I'm just going to submit them. I'm not going to indie publish those novels. And oh man, I have some great ideas for just some one-off books, not tentpoles for a series, not spin-offs or sequels to something I've already got out there. Moving right along though. Next up, this is probably like a novelette. It'll be published as an ebook. Dario Young and the French Fried Werewolf from Hell, sequel to 2014 short story Dario Young and the GPS from Hell. If you have read GPS, then you know what you're in for with this story. I love this character. Dario Young is he's probably my most honest character. Like, there's nothing phony about him. He's got no secrets, he's got no filter. He just says it like he sees it, he says it like he thinks it. And he's largely born of having worked with teenagers for 8 years. I was reminded of that recently. I had one of the now grown former teenagers I worked with was over for a lovely vegan dinner with a bunch of people, and he just starts he just launches into basically stand-up comedy, and I'm listening to him, and like he sounds like Dario Young telling these crazy stories about his life, all of which are true. I know this kid, or this guy. He's not a kid anymore, but I'm like, yeah, that's where this character came from. Is this guy, all these people like peppering their vernacular with F-bombs, and yeah, I love Dario Young, and French Fried Werewolf from Hell is so much fun. So that's hopefully going to come out late next year as an ebook, and that's the plan. Everything's gotten pushed off. I wanted it to come out this year. A lot of these keep getting pushed back to the next year. It's like waiting on a video game to come out or something. There's always some sort of setback. But it's been COVID-y is the real problem. It's really just sort of knocked my schedule around, like my production schedule around. And I've had cover artists going to prison. I've had it's been hard. It's been hard to get things published. But hopefully Molly Fine did the cover art for GPS. She's done a concept for French Fried Werewolf. She's not in prison. Just so we're being clear. That's not the cover artist I'm talking about. Alright, so next up is this novel I wrote called Enamorato Amarante, which is set in my Nightfire universe, as is the Dario Young series. This one is... I had so much fun writing this one, and I'm hopefully going to publish this one earlier next year if I can get cover art in time for that kind of a schedule. I still need to do one more draft from editor's notes. At least one more draft. You never know what's going to happen when you're redrafting. But if I don't come across any huge thing that I feel like I need to add, one more draft and it's ready to go. I just need cover art. I met one of the most entertaining characters I've ever worked with in Enamorato Amarante. It's set in the late 19th century, and it's a ghost. At the core, it's a ghost story. It's a creepy ghost story. But there are some really entertaining characters. There are some Oscar Wilde-esque conversations in this book that, it's like you don't plan it. It's just when you're reading it and redrafting it, you're like, this is Wilde-worthy stuff. Where did this come from? Because I never feel like I can take credit for the things I love in my work because I don't know where they came from, oftentimes. But yeah, just gosh, I can't wait to have this one published. And yeah, I will be indie publishing this one for sure. Pretty much everything here I'm going to be indie publishing. But what else did I want to say about Enamorato Amarante? Oh, this one! I had to talk to my shrink about this one because my favorite character in this book is this paranormal investigator named, well, I don't know. I don't know how much spoil. It's not out yet. I'm not going to spoil anything at the moment, even if it's insignificant. But, getting into this character, I start to notice some things about him, and I'm like, I think this guy is on the spectrum somehow. But at the same time, I wrote myself a letter when I was heavily medicated one night, which I do from time to time, leave it for myself in the morning when I have some epiphany. And I read it the next day and I'm like, I didn't write this. That character wrote this. But this is my truth. So, I mean, I wound up putting that letter in the book as this character's like mantra, like his notes to self for living a life true to himself. It's so like what I was like, this guy's on the spectrum. He's also my truth. So am I on the spectrum? And I had to talk to my shrink about that and I felt stupid. But you know, this is writer head. You get really into a character and then you're like, where's the line? Sometimes you don't know where the line is between yourself and that character when you really get into it. But I mean, it turns out, I mean, at least according to my shrink, I'm not on the spectrum. I mean, that's not a good or bad thing, it's just a thing. But I did have to wonder, just because of this character, who I don't know enough about autism to say definitively whether or not this character is or is not on the spectrum. All I know is he's a great character, and I cannot wait for people to read this book. And then I've got, another short story, In Wine Lies the Truth, is a sequel to a short story I did several years back called An Unexpected Snow. And I mean, if you've read An Unexpected Snow, it's more of that. That's all I can say about it. It's more of a, it's like a superhero parody, kind of. It's just like this guy, you know, in An Unexpected Snow, this cowboy stripper looking guy riding a palomino in the snow in a thong and boots and a like sequins, has a fist fight with a polar bear. Did I pronounce that R? Polar bear. Polar bear. Man, so it's a little bit longer than An Unexpected Snow. It's still a short story, and it's funny, and it's satirical the way that An Unexpected Snow was. If you read the final line in An Unexpected Snow, like instead of the end, there's another line that just tells you what you've been reading. There's a line like that at the end of In Wine Lies the Truth as well. There's another thing we're in violation of here. So, a good thing. Like, you know, I think the Bechdel test, which is kind of what the first one was going against, just to show the absurdity of going against the Bechdel test, is what it was. And this one shows the absurdity of going against something else. Yeah, the Bechdel test. I could do a whole video on the Bechdel test and my thoughts on it. Some of you would like my thoughts, some of you would hate my thoughts. I mean, such is the nature of the Bechdel test. But it's not like something that you have to strive for. It's a good tool just for evaluating your work, I guess, is how I look at it. But anyway, another topic for another video. Alright, next up, Nightlight 3, Love and Darkness is the tentative title right now. I think, how many drafts have I think I need one more draft on this one. I got editor's notes back and haven't done another draft. This one, definitely indie publishing. I don't know exactly in what format. And it's not going to come out next year like I wanted it to. It's going to be probably 2022 or later, depending on, there's a novel I wrote that I want to come out before Nightlight 3 because it involves a lot of the same characters, and I wrote it first and I don't want it spoiled by Nightlight 3, I guess it's not essential reading. If you want to read Nightlight 1, 2, 3, you won't be lost. But they do heavily reference this novel, and they tell you everything you need to know. If you haven't read it, you won't be like, wait, I need to stop reading this and then go read The Thing in the Attic before. The Thing in the Attic is kind of like Nightlight 2.5. It's a spin-off. I'll get to that. It's in my stack. So, but Nightlight 3, man, every time I write a Nightlight story, I think I'm done. And I really do think I'm done this time. I did a whole video when I finished this story, so I'll try not to repeat myself. But Nightlight 3 is what it's all about. And it is really long. It's novella length. That's why I'm not sure how it's going to be published. But it is going to be published 2023 at the earliest. So I keep forgetting what year it is because it's like 2020 didn't happen. There wasn't that much committed to memory because it was just, well, here's another day of sitting alone in the house. There's nowhere to go. No one can come over. So I keep thinking, like I keep doing time math as though it is now 2020. It's weird. But I've compared notes. Apparently I am far from the only person with this glitch this year. But yeah, 2023, Nightlight 3 is my favorite of the Nightlight trilogy, and it is the conclusion to the Nightlight trilogy. And I've got The Theomorph is a short story I wrote many years ago, and I wrote it for an anthology that I still want to write one or two. I actually started writing Enamorato Amarante as a short story for that anthology, but it blew up. It got bigger, so it's going to be its own book. But yeah, there's still at least one story off the top of my head that I want to write to include in this short story collection, which is going to be mostly older stories, but I'm trying to save some unpublished stuff to put in as new material for the collection. It's going to be called Morality Play. That's the title I have in my head, and have had in my head since my first short fiction anthology came out in like 2003. But yeah, the Theomorph is about a kid who can turn into a god, basically. And it's very fairy tale-esque. It's not like serious science fiction or anything. It's really short. It's a morality play, like most of the fiction, if not all of the fiction that will be going into the anthology Morality Play. But yeah, so I have no plans to publish this short story on its own. I intend to put it in a collection, so I don't know when I'm going to get to that, but there it is sitting on my desk. This is just like, so you know that even though it's long stretches of time between publications for me sometimes, I'm not sitting around doing nothing. There is so much that I have been working on, and I've got The Thing in the Attic is the novel that I want you to read before Nightlight 3 comes out. And it's the little boy from Nightlight at age 15. And it's just kind of like what became of him is sort of the story. And if you've read my Nightfire fiction, you've got an idea where his life has gone. Spoilers if you have not read my Nightfire fiction in that universe, but you know, he's friends with Dario Young. He and his brother Jasper are the guys Dario Young was telling his story to in GPS from Hell. They're the people that he's telling his story to in French Fried Werewolf from Hell. This book is kind of like... So, I mean, they're established in that world in their 20s as paranormal investigators with a YouTube channel. And The Thing in the Attic is like an origin story for that. It's 10 years after Nightlight 2, but it's before their appearances in other stories. And they appear in another short story that you can read on my website, but it's a twist ending, so I'm not going to tell you which story that is. The twist ending is that this short story is an Anderson Brothers paranormal investigation. But yeah, so I mean, it's comical, it's funny, it's creepy, but it's in my horror universe. But Dario Young is one of the main characters, so it's not... It's got as much heart as it has as much comedy as it has heart, I think. That's what I love about The Thing in the Attic. It's like, you know, the thing in the attic is a MacGuffin. It's just sort of the thing that holds the story together, but it's really about two brothers. I get emotional talking about my work. Because, I mean, I've lived these lives with these characters, so like, when I start talking about the heart of the story, I start feeling it, and I get a little bit teary-eyed. I'm not apologizing for that, I'm just explaining it to you. But yeah, it's about paranormal investigators, yes. But it's really at the heart, it's about two brothers trying to cope with their parents' divorce and having to move to a new town and make new friends and like all the good and bad. I keep picking up my drink and not drinking it. But like, it's all there's just so much heart in this novel. Even Dario Young, you get nuance to that character when he's outside of a short story and put into a full-length novel. He's much more fleshed out. You really get to see who he is beyond just a guy who tells crazy stories about GPSs trying to kill him. And the last... Oh no, this one doesn't even count. Okay, so 8 finished manuscripts. This one is The Tragedy of Dandy Smoldy Pants, which is, I mean, it counts as part of like my canon as an author. It's 2 pages long, and I just I typed it out in manuscript form because I had read it in a YouTube video when I was having trouble with the recording equipment. But so I just felt like, alright, that story is solidly out there now. I might as well put it in print. So that's all that is. And that'll be coming out. Well, The Thing in the Attic, I am hopeful will be out early. The Thing in the Attic, I am hopeful will be out early 2022, like first or second quarter. Well, I would say second quarter, definitely not first. That's my goal if I can get cover art. That is all that I am waiting for. It is in its final form. It is formatted for a hardback, but I need cover art. So working on that, working on getting the machine back in operational again. And so then if it comes out next year, then Nightlight 3 will come out the following year. But I'm also toying with the idea of making an exception for The Thing in the Attic and submitting it to mainstream publishers. Just knowing that I might have to fight editors for my continuity, because it is part of a larger universe. And continuity is very important to me as a storyteller. You know, I don't want to change anybody's names or backgrounds in this novel. So, I don't know. And that's why I say Nightlight 3 will be at the earliest 2023, but because if I land The Thing in the Attic with a larger publisher, if I go that route, and it is successful, then that would put the publication off. It definitely wouldn't come out the second quarter of next year. So that's something I'm still deliberating in my head right now. And there's no reason I can't indie publish it and then send it to mainstream publishers. I just feel like it's it has mainstream potential like nothing else I've written. I mean, I've written things that I feel like have mainstream potential, but The Thing in the Attic is so... I can't wait for you to read it. But yeah, so Dandy Smoley Pants, I'm going to put it out as an ebook next year at some point. I have a schedule. I want to say October next year, maybe. Oh, look at that. I actually took a drink. So those are all my unfinished manuscripts. I've also got a couple of other projects going that are, you know, movie people related that... Did I just say that derisively? Did I just sound like I don't like movie people? I love movie people. They're interesting. I'm not... Okay. So yeah, I've got a couple other projects that are dealing with movie people, and those, you don't, like, I say that, I hate to even say that because it sounds like there's some big deal brewing, but there's not. I mean, I've had a couple things. I've had talks with movie people who were interested in some of my work before. Metronomes, The Shaman's Apprentice. There was a studio interested. They never took the next step of, what's the term? Optioning the book. So it never happened. I never made money on that. But the talks, there were talks. And The Ghost in the Olive Grove. Also, I was, a director contacted me about that short story and the possibility of doing it as a film. But it never got optioned. It's just the way it works, you know. Movie stuff, it's kind of like, if you are ever fortunate enough to have anyone in the film industry talk to you about your work, that in itself is a great little, like, feather in your cap. Like, just feel good about it. Don't expect it or need it to go any further, because most authors don't get to talk to movie people. So I'm just happy that I can say I have had talks with movie people. I've been in talks with movie people about my stuff, because it's hard for mainstream best-selling authors to get movies and TV shows made of their stuff. You know, that's why I don't have like expectations. I don't have disappointment when these things don't actually ever go anywhere, because I know bigger authors than I have had talks with movie peoples that didn't go anywhere, or have even optioned stuff to movie people that didn't go anywhere. It doesn't, you know, it's a long uphill, up mountain, cliffside journey from talks to green light. And like, so there are a couple of things floating around. There are talks, is what I can say, and I'm really happy about that. I'm enjoying it, while at the same time I'm not taking it very seriously. But if something happens, heck yeah. Sign me up, give me the standard rich and famous contract, please. I will take it. Like, that's, ever since I saw the Muppet movie, I'm like, where do I sign a standard rich and famous contract like Kermit the Frog did? I'll take it. My frog will take it. I mean, why are there so many songs about rainbows? I'd like to be one of the reasons. But I'm cool whatever does or does not happen with these. It's just those are some projects I'm also involved with at some level. Things going on behind the scenes. But it will be years before I can say anything, if ever I can say anything. And what else? I mean, that's pretty much it. YouTube. I took some time off of YouTube just because it's not because I was depressed that I only have 18 subscribers. I love that I have 18 entire subscribers. Or 17. I have 17. My goal. My lifetime goal has always been to have 18 subscribers. But no, something happened, like, in life that upset me a lot. And I felt like I needed to rebut what was said about... And so, I mean, I guess what I'm saying is I took time because I felt like I should not just go back to making my goofy videos without first addressing the thing that was said. It's basically, just like... And yeah, I'm going to do a whole video about this. Like, I've been doing research to get my facts straight. Because it's a homophobic attack, basically, is what I need to, I think, publicly stand up to. I think, you know, because when people post hateful things on the internet and use their religion to make themselves feel like they're doing a good and righteous thing by saying hateful, god-awful things about people in the grand acronym, as I call it. You know, the people under the rainbow. And this particular attack is not the first attack to come at me from my family. So I feel like I need to address it, and that I need to be very careful that I'm giving accurate information, that I'm being clear with what I'm trying to say. and why I'm trying to say it. And so that's why I just felt like I can't sit on the couch and just ramble on about whatever pops into my head in a video. I can't make a video of me doing vegan cooking, all things that I could have done during the couple of months that I wasn't putting anything up. I put maybe one video up each month for a couple of months. As I'm filming this, you know, by the time you see this, I will have put something up in August. But I'm filming this a couple days before that even goes up. But yeah, so I mean, that's what's going on. I was hurt and angry, and I feel like there are things you cannot let slide. Now that doesn't mean, I mean, I'm going to make a whole video about it. So I wanted to take a little time. I did shoot an I Can't Sleep video last night, and I'm doing this one today because I'm trying to get my story reading videos. I've recorded Nightlight twice for my Let Me Tell You a Story videos. The first time I replaced it last minute with The Tragedy of Dandy Smoley Pants, which I was able to read quickly enough that the microphone didn't screw up. I think I have almost solved the microphone problem so that I can start putting more short stories up on YouTube. This is ultimately a YouTube channel to connect with readers and promote my writing. So getting some short stories up is one of the things I really wanted to do this year. And man, like, it takes about an hour, give or take, to record Nightlight dramatically. And I've got music and effects that I've already got ready to go, but I could not, the last recording, I couldn't get the buzzing of the microphone. I couldn't get rid of it. So yeah, so anyway, I think I've got that fixed. Hopefully within the next week or so I'll be able to record some of my short stories and get those up on YouTube so you can veg out and listen to them while you're multitasking, I guess. But so that's coming too. So that's pretty much, that's a really long video for what I wanted to do, a quick update. But I mean, there's been a lot going on, I guess. There's a lot. I just wanted to sit down and get out there. So I mean, I guess I'm done. I don't have anything else. The next vlog will probably be my rebuttal to when your family uses Jesus to hurt people. So look forward to that. Yeah, so I'm done for now. Thank you. If you sat through all of that, all of my just ranting about myself narcissistically and playing with a banana, you are my people. So thank you so much. And I'm going to go eat banana and some peanut butter. And I'll talk to y'all next time.